I'm kind of trying to explore my train of thought without actually being able to listen to it. So it's always a new adventure, every new thing that I do, if that makes sense to you guys. Alright guys, hello and welcome back to a kind of different type of recording. Another episode of Good Company in the free mode with me, Spacefish, as always, obviously. But, well, that's post commentary, unfortunately. So, when I came off my last stream, I kind of may have forgotten to click that mute button for the microphone again, and, well, subsequently, when recording, I kinda forgot to activate that again, and you guys didn't hear me, and, well, I'm, kind of a big mess, but well, I'm gonna try my best to go and get in a little post-recording here with you guys to, tell you guys something about what we did anyway. So as you can see here, what I was just showing you guys up there, if you click that little G icon to your current cash in your account, you can actually check out a bunch of very interesting financials about the company, like your net worth, your different cash flows, and how everything develops. I just found that out very recently, I think due to the community member. I'm pretty sure there was some member on the community Discord of Good Company that actually let me know how this stuff worked, and I really appreciate it. I think it was Gwendoline, if I'm not mistaken. So if you happen to be watching this video, thank you very much for that. It's definitely a very interesting tool to have. But yeah, as I said, guys, post commentary. First time I am personally doing this, so I do very, very profusely apologize if it's kind of going to be weird or I'm going to have to wait or whatever, because I haven't done this like ever, and I don't know, I never really wanted to, just because it seems kind of unnatural to me, if that makes sense. Just talking after the fact about the game, I just really prefer those, like getting those live reactions in, if that makes any sense to you guys. But, well, as kind of an emergency solution, it's just about what we're going to be doing here, and I seem to be rambling on about that net worth for quite a while. Unfortunately, don't know what I'm saying, but tell me guys all about what each and everything is worth. And I mean, we're at 300k right now, so it's definitely a good bunch of money. I mean, we started at 100k cash with basically no net worth, I guess, so definitely coming a long while. Already like tripled the company value, so that's pretty neat. But it seems I'm finally done with that, and we're gonna progress. Yeah, so as far as I remember from last time, the calculator market had actually progressed. When we ended up the last episode, we had already obviously done all the Pocket PC stuff and upgraded that to what I think we called the Sonovu U, which I think that thing looks pretty good. That's it right there. But well, as it's kind of time for the new market phase, we are now looking at potentially getting a new calculator model in there, and I think I had a name that I think it was Luke, right? Was it Luke from the YouTube comments? I think so. Shout out to you, mate, if that was you. He gave me a very nice calculator name. Was going for Kansas Instruments, which I really like, kind of a little bit of a reference to Texas Instruments right there. But, well, so I was kind of looking to do a new design just featuring this name, and I looked at all the factors, and then I saw that we're still at a market appeal of 3.2, which is honestly not too bad. So I kind of just ended up going a bit back and forth about things and kind of discussing with myself, but honestly, for a market appeal of 3.2, it's honestly not too bad of an idea to just, say, okay, let's maybe just keep it like this for another market phase, because, I mean, we can just, if we need to, we can just lower the price that tiny little bit to actually be able to sell off enough of these calculators for what we're producing, and we wouldn't have to change anything about the production chain. Could probably, with the new tables, also spend some time optimizing the actual production chain, and that way spending even less money on the production. So, like, I mean, look at that. We have got potential sales of 10 in the next week still, and we've historically been selling kind of 11 every week. So I'm thinking If I recall correctly, I do a minor discount just to get back to 11. Yes, do I? Let me see. Yeah, there we go. 1% of a discount. It's not too bad, is it? And there we are, 816 bucks per calculator still, with the same amount of modules of calculators sold. And I mean, yeah, there's really just no need yet for a new calculator design, so that's kind of just a little postponed until the future. But that's that for the calculator design. I'm kind of wondering what I'm going to do next myself here. We're obviously researching a few new parts down there, so that's pretty awesome. Really, who doesn't like new technical stuff? But I think I'm just now going about the place kind of trying to see what I can optimize and how. And obviously we've got these two tinker tables right there where we are making LED arrays, but we would only need one chemistry workbench, I think, to actually be able to take care of that at one table. So I mean, that would be an idea. It's a good question if I actually ended up doing that. I wouldn't be able to tell you after the fact, but let's sort of explore together. So I'm looking at my recipes right now. Yes, I'm kind of just trying to figure out how much stuff I need and of what. And well, there's Priscilla and there's Alberto, and I think I'm actually kind of trying to see if one of them is earning more than 20 bucks, and I should actually potentially fire them because they're too expensive for us. But well, I'm kind of unsure. Like, I mean, the way that I always do good companies, I kind of try and also stay a good company, if that makes sense. I really just hate having to lay all these people off, and I don't know. It's not what goes in line with being a good company for me, so I kind of try and avoid that, even though with the new change to 20 bucks for everybody, I do kind of hire a few dudes that are just way too expensive, because, I mean, while I kind of don't want to do it, it's a necessity to, well, it's not a necessity, but it's just, why would I pay 24 bucks for somebody when I just pay 20 for them, right? But I'm now looking at buildings, because I think I was considering to actually make a new product, as we are rapidly nearing in on that. And there we go, cleaner bot discovered. So that's a very, very interesting one indeed, that I would really, really love to do. But I'm just looking around buildings now, just checking out what I could buy, checking out the different prices for different buildings. And well, now looking back into research though, because obviously that's just finished and we need to pick something new. After all, we're pretty quickly accumulating research points now, and probably wouldn't wanna, you know, let any time go to waste there, because obviously, as you see, like, the required research points are ramping up rapidly, so we need to kind of stay on top of that at the same time, if that makes sense. But I'm still apparently checking buildings out now. What ended up being kind of an issue here was that I didn't notice that not every building actually has an incoming and outgoing zone, which, well, as you guys will probably see in a few minutes, well, I'm not going to spoiler it, I think you can already guesstimate what happens, but as it seems, it's actually the case that only the outer perimeter buildings, or at least most of them, have an inner and out, well, an ingoing and outgoing zone rather, while, for the inner perimeter buildings, that's not actually the case, and I never knew that. Like, that's something totally new to me. Obviously, in public playtests, there weren't also quite as many buildings available, so maybe, I don't know, maybe I never got to that point, or maybe those buildings were just not available back then. But I'm now looking at creating a cleaner bot, and what I found out is that I actually need a new casing for that one. Like, if you can see here, there's all the fitting cases, and we can do what's the closest stuff that we have currently is either a windowed case or a polished case. And I think I kind of go back thinking that, well, you know, the polished case is actually a different one. So for the polished case, I would still need to research steps, which is why I, in the very end up just going for the windowed case. So, still looking at all the properties of the products, because I think I have not discovered yet that I would actually need to research more. Let me just double check on that. Yeah, exactly. So this is just a stylish case, and we would need a polished case. As you can see right there, that's not even available to us yet, so it's not a possibility for our cleaner bot. And well, if you see up there though, well, not down there. Where are you going? I don't know where you're going, but up there somewhere is the windowed case. Yeah, right there. Exactly. Thank you very much. Historical Spacefish. But there's the windowed case which we need for our cleaner bot, and that's then what I start researching, and that needs to be done before we can even do something with a cleaner bot. And as you guys saw, that actually takes quite a bit of research, so it's not going to be until a bit later that we can actually finally get to designing a cleaner bot, because well, how would you do that without the casing? But it's actually awesome. I really love it. Like, it's a new product that we can finally build and design, and I'm really looking forward to it, right? Because so far, most of the stuff that I've been doing with you guys in Good Company has been stuff that I've already known from the public playtest. I mean, I never really got too deep into all these upgraded workbenches. Yeah, so that's a new thing. But well, I mean, for products, it's always been the calculator, the pocket computer, and the gaming device, which I'm sure we'll encounter that at a later time in this game as well. But well, so calculator, pocket computer have been rather familiar, and the cleaner bot is a totally new thing to me, totally new product design, something totally new that we can build. I'm just really overall looking forward to that. Now I'm checking this out, because as you guys can see, for some reason, there's actually next to no pocket PCs right there, and it seems that they were kind of short on these small register banks for a second, which I couldn't quite wrap my head around, because I think it should be produced, like that table should be producing one every 4 seconds, and well, down there I basically spend 2 every 12, so well, it should kind of have enough headroom, but something just didn't seem to be quite right there, and I checked back and forth and I couldn't really figure it out, I don't think. I mean, it's a pretty weird one, right? You gotta give it that, because I mean, yeah, the employees have to move back and forth between the shelves and pick things up, but should that account for 4 seconds delay? Like, I think the delay in there should be sufficient. I don't know what kind of went wrong there, but here I go now. I take that employee and move it over to the logistics point just to kind of reinforce my logistics worker, just in case, you know, maybe he's just a bit overworked, because I think I literally only have one in there for that whole compartment for pocket PC, so that's obviously a bit short. And then what I end up doing instead is like going down there, finally get a chemistry table plunked down for those LED arrays, and get, I think his name was Alberto, yes, ha, I knew it. Get Alberto assigned to that and make him make LED arrays again and reconnect all these logistics connections. And that way, I mean, we're actually producing more than we were before, I think. With that frequency, that should also be at 4 seconds, so it should now be 2.5 every 10 seconds instead of 2, which, I mean, I don't really mind about. It's not like it causes any more costs for us. Now we have that empty table there with nobody working there, and what I kind of just... The determination that I made for these tables, I think, was that I would just kind of keep them standing there for the time being, so I could reuse them later if I needed to, and then I would probably eventually just scrap them, build some nice new tables there, and maybe just kind of try and optimize my whole design as well for how I place these tables, because obviously, I don't know. I think up there where I'm building the pocket PC, my design is actually pretty good. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm rather effectively using most of the space. Obviously not perfect, but I think it's pretty fine. But down there where I'm building the calculator, I don't think we're actually doing too incredibly great. Now we're back up top at the pocket PC building space, and as you can see, we are now working away at kind of trying to find out what the register bank problem is. And as you guys can see here, I'm trying to upgrade the, not the frequency, I always try and say the frequency, the, what's it called? The, well, basically the space, right? How much, how many electronic components we store up there for further production. Because it seems that with all these tables around there, that are already upgraded, right? You gotta think about that. Like, the chemistry tables are upgraded, the electronics workbench is upgraded, and they're all using these electronic parts. And it seems that there's just not enough in stock. Like, all these tables seem to steal these electronic components from each other. If you can see right there, you only have 5 of them in there right there. But I just go and redesign things a bit, and well, as you can see right there, I end up moving the parts over a bit, and that way I can just increase the amount of electronic parts in there in hopes that that will solve that bottleneck. So let's see. I really hope that's going to be the case. My plastic parts are just going to be moved over by the worker, which should not hopefully be that much of an issue, considering that he's really making a ton of them. Like, a lot every few seconds. So hopefully that should be just about fine, and these plastic parts can be reused somewhere else. Okay, so just looking at economic reports, moving down towards the calculator, and well, now thinking again about new buildings, I think. Do I? I'm not quite sure. It's always, I mean, it's kind of interesting, this post-commentary thing, right? Because I'm kind of trying to explore my train of thought without actually being able to listen to it. So it's always a new adventure, every new thing that I do, if that makes sense to you guys. So it's not too bad. I'm kind of enjoying myself. Like, I still prefer actually live commentary and telling you guys everything live, but it's a pretty funny change for one. So I think I'm now just going up and double checking that everything's fine for the register banks, and it does seem that we're pretty good there, I really hope. Well, maybe not. Let's find out. Ah, okay, so all this plastic parts thing seems to be an issue, doesn't it? I mean, obviously we're kind of confined there, right? Because we only have this small workbench, and it's kind of a bit tight, sadly. So yeah, I think what I end up doing is I redo stuff. So what is the more optimal solution as well, I think, is I just don't do this plastic parts thingy, and I move them over there, because obviously they're needed for other parts as well. And no, they're not needed for other parts, but they're needed for the register bank. And how this thing worked so far, yeah, okay, so what I'm doing is kind of optimizing. So how this thing worked so far that I did up there, and that didn't make too much sense, was that the lady doing the register banks would go to this first small shelf that I'm at now, get the electronic parts, then go down to the other shelf, get the plastic parts, and then go up, manufacture it, and go down again. What I did now instead is I moved. Now I'm moving away and buying that other building. But what I did was I moved the out down there to the calculator where she's going already anyways, but it's going to be the out in the same location, and then both the ins to that other small shelf, so she kind of has shorter ways to move. And I bought this building, and I was kind of like, wait a second, why does this not have any ins and outs? So as I told you guys before already, I kind of made a small mistake there, because I didn't know that didn't have any ins and outs. I was just kind of assuming that every single building would have ins and outs. So, well, that was kind of an issue, and I went to buy another building. Sorry for that. Phone ringing in the background again. Always is awesome, as always. But now I'm just kind of checking out whatever is available around the plot, kind of seeing what is cheaper for me for the area that I need, and I just end up buying another building because, well, I mean, we can obviously use that building as well somewhere in the later phase, most probably. I mean, I think there's going to be conveyors and stuff, so maybe that kind of is going to help with supplying these buildings that are more in the inner parts of the factory. But there we go, that's our new nice building, and now I'm just checking out what I really want to do next after the windowed case. I mean, there's obviously a few possibilities, but I'm just really not sure, you know, what you would need, what you would want, because it's all new products to me. I've got no clue what they're made up of, what's the most optimal thing for us, which, I mean, is a good thing. Like, if I already knew everything about this game, that would be very boring, and I'm having quite a lot of fun exploring it together with you guys. So, well, outgoing zone. Chemistry table. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing now. I think I'm more or less just waiting for the research to finish, because I'm really looking forward to finally getting this product designed and finally being able to continue with this stuff. And now, yeah, okay, so what I'm now checking is that most of these outer buildings on the outer perimeters, except that one that I just clicked before, do seem to have incoming and outgoing zones. That one didn't, because I think it's not really particularly actually connected to the street, so that's probably why not. But yeah, so if you need incoming and outgoing zones, you want the buildings on the outside instead of the inner ones. But as I'm nearing my research goal, I'm just looking at Meep, because why not? Just, you know, working around a bit, having some fun, and now we're going down, because now finally the research is complete on the windowed case, and it is finally time to get our very first cleaner bot designed. With the windowed case, obviously, only options so far, just checking out the properties of that windowed case, how many spaces we have, and, well, what kind of ins and outs it has. And then just seeing those expected features up there and being like, oh god, am I really expected to have 10 in all of these? But apparently, it's only like 0.7 out of 10 is expected and 1.1 out of 10 is expected. So if you look here, that's now what is really expected. I was kind of panicking there for a second. Now it does seem to be a little bit more doable. So what I do is I go ahead and get myself into the product design. Get that small DC motor, which is obviously needed for the cleaner bot's mechanics, and just check it out. And what you'll see right here, right, is that it only gives me 0.1 mobility, which is actually very, very little, unfortunately. And what will quickly transpire, I mean, yeah, -2 market appeal, I got kind of worried about that and was like, oh wait, am I affecting drawbacks too high already or something? But it's kind of just that, well, all the basic features need to be met. So, well, all the basic features with an exclamation mark at least, I think. So if I can hit that processing power, I think it should turn... No, still not positive. I guess I just need some data storage as well, but it will get there. The only issue being right now that, well, as you can see, these DC motors only give me 0.1 for one. So there's no way that I could actually cram 3 of those in there. So it's kind of gonna be a bit harder to actually get that final product design done the way that I want it. I mean, data storage is not too bad. It's a rather easy thing for me to hit. Processing power is not too bad either. But that mobility is super low just because, well, as I said, I mean, I've only got these basic DC motors and it just doesn't seem to be up to snuff to actually meet these market demands. Now, as you can see here, I still have 3 empty fields, but I don't quite manage, I don't think. I'm going to go a bit back and forth about this design in a minute here. But I'm pretty sure that I don't actually manage to cram these DC motors into these last few slots, just because the way that all other things are kind of laid out here. So, well, I mean, it's kind of a hard one, right? Now we have a market appeal of 2.0, which is really not much. I mean, it's pretty bad, to be honest, 2.0, but it's still not incredibly terrible. And what you gotta kind of remember, right? We had this calculator before. That, I think, after the new market phase had a market appeal of like, what was it? Was it like 3.2 or something? I'm pretty sure we'll have a look into this after all this kind of trying to design the product, which sadly is not going to work. Like, well, I mean, it's going to work. I mean, it's going to work the way that this is, but I'm not going to be able to cram another of these motors in. I mean, yeah, small stepper motors would be great, but we don't have those yet. So, but yeah, I think we will, after this, look back at the calculator, because firstly I'm like, well, market appeal of 2.0, that's literally nothing. How would I even do this? Like, I'm not going to be able to sell much of anything. That this doesn't make any sense. As much as I would want to do a new product, it just isn't the right time just yet. So, you know, maybe we should do it later. But then I go back and I actually look at my calculator stats and I see like, wait a minute. This thing swapped over to a new market phase. And it has a market appeal of 3.2 now, right? So, well, I mean, what I think I'd try here is only doing one small register bank, just really noting that real quick, and then a small DC motor. But as you can see right there, even though I managed to cram another one in, and it's at a more critical feature, the affecting drawbacks go up too high that way. I don't actually manage to raise my market appeal above 2.0. But, well, so I go back to my calculator. I'm like, wait a minute, this is 3.2 market appeal. And I'm selling 11 of these. So, like, with all these milestones, right, I think our market phases, I mean, well, the calculator is a market phase 4, so it is a different one, you gotta regard that. But we had 3 milestones reached already, I think. And, well, I mean, with every market phase, we up the market demand in these different market phases. And, that way, well, we kinda up the demand in the lower phases as well. At least that's what I hope. And then looking back at the calculator with 11 sales for a 3.2 market appeal, maybe it's actually not too bad at 2.0, right? You gotta think about that, because if I only do 1 production street for a start, if I only do 1 final assembly table, it's gonna give me like what, 5 or 6 every week. So that would maybe not be that hard with our market appeal. And that's, yeah. See, like here we are, here we're looking at that, and that's what kind of makes me think, well, maybe I should actually get going with this. I really want to design a new product. I'm really looking forward to doing that. I really, really love this new product. And, well, thus I do actually make the move and continue editing that. But I will have to pause here real quick, and I will be right back in post-commentary with you guys after a quick little cut. Alright guys, and welcome back from that quick little cut. It's been a while. I had to work a little bit in between, so I kinda just came back to continue recording. But well, here we are with our little cleaner bot design, and I think the last thing I was kind of talking about was that I kind of figured out that well, for market appeal, we should probably be fine if we only do 1 of these. And now I'm giving it the name UFO Mark 1. Kinda close to a little vacuum robot that I'm using myself. If you guys may or may not know which one I'm talking about, it's a quite little awesome guy that really helps me out in my house, and I think he only deserves to be mentioned in this gameplay as well. Now we're going for designs and got a few options, but yeah, like obviously I took my own naming there. I didn't really have any ideas from you guys yet, so as always, as I always used to say, you know, you guys got any ideas for product names that you would like to have featured in these YouTube episodes, let me know down below in the comments. I would be very, very happy to adopt them to some of my products. But, well, now we're just kind of going back and forth between the product designs. I mean, obviously you got the cleaning squid, which is an interesting one, got the mop, but I'm kind of fancying the vacuum cube, to be honest. I'm looking through the colors as well, and while like powerful orange looks very, very good actually, I do decide to go for fresh mint first, just because that's got that little bit more retro style to it, if that makes sense. And as this is like our first product, and thus will eventually be our oldest version of the cleaner bot, I kind of just want to start it out there, if that does make sense. I mean, I'm contemplating a bit here and there still, but I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, and well, still exploring my trains of thought here after the fact, but I'm pretty sure that we ended up with the fresh mint design. Yep, and there we go, finishing the design. And that's going to be our UFO Mark 1. And, not quite sure what I'm doing here now. Oh yeah, right, I'm looking at assembly times and all the likes, so just checking that out. And then we're waddling our way up, not to this storage, well not storage, but not to that little production hall, but all the way over here. I mean, I can obviously always free move the camera as well, but I don't know, like, I don't know about you guys, but I really just still enjoy myself waddling about the place with my own character doing things. I still think that's a nice feature of the game design. It's obviously very nice and handy to be able to free move the camera as well when you want to, but me myself, sometimes I just like to move on myself. And now we're checking out all the parts that we need, and it's obviously quite the big list. I mean, we need 3 of these DC motors, we need 2 of them logic circuits, and another register bank. Thing is though, this thing takes 11 seconds to build, so as with many things, we won't actually need that many tables. I'm not quite sure what I went for in the very end, but looking at this, right, exactly, so small DC motor. We need the small parts first, like all these mechanical parts, the metal sundries and the gears, but, I mean, looking at it, I don't know, like thinking about it now, maybe we just need like 1 table or 2 finally to get enough produced for at least 1 assembly facility. For 2 it's obviously going to be a different story. But yeah, so just kind of contemplating these things. I think what I end up doing is I just, get my info browser going, move it about the place like 15 times, because why not? And then I waddle about with my little mouse there, and I go back and kind of check out the recipes. So I'm pretty sure what I ended up doing initially was just kind of trying to get a hold of all these metal parts, because obviously I need the metal rods to be built, I need the gears to be built, I need all the mechanical parts, I think it was, to be built, so we can actually even start with the DC motors. And overall, I think DC motors are going to be the first thing that we're taking care of. Obviously there's more. Well, the logic circuits, I'm not quite sure. I think those are a bit more complicated as well. The small register banks, I'm not too worried about. That would probably be rather easy. But, well, yeah, now I'm obviously kind of checking out production frequencies, just kind of trying to explore how much I need of what. And now I'm trying to do the first sort of compartments, if that makes sense. I mean, I've kind of switched to more of a compartmentalized build style, I think, when I went into this challenge mode, as I don't know, I like functional units, if that makes sense. I think like previously I've not really emphasized that sort of design, well, like my design in general, too much. Well, I mean, it's obvious, right? Because also in public playtest, it was always kind of a first getting started. And now I'm kind of expanding further, right? Like on my first start, I usually never pay too much attention to the design, just because I want to get started, I want to get things built, I want to get things sold, money made. And now that I'm getting further into the game, and you guys saw it up there, I think we were at like 150k, 160k. I'm just trying to get myself more into actual design and just kind of think about things before doing them. So I kind of try and build like my own little compartments, which is sort of something that, as I just said, I've sort of slightly adopted from the challenge mode gameplay in my campaign series. So if you guys didn't check that out, make sure to check it out down below. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. So I'm plunking down 1 tinker table as well, because I think for one thing I needed. I'm not quite sure what it was, but we will hopefully see in a second. I'm pretty sure maybe it was the mechanical parts. Like there was definitely something where there was definitely a table that we can use later on, but right now it's not available for us, because I think we need like milestone 3 or 4 to even be able to get that table. So I just built a tinker table for that, and then the advanced, well, the basic workbenches, I think they're called, for everything else. I'm just kind of trying to box everything in and keep everything a little bit compact and not overbuild everything totally, if that makes sense. And I think that design is pretty nice so far. I mean, it's obviously a bit cramped for the workers, but in this game it doesn't, as far as I know, affect much of anything. It definitely does in a different game that I'm playing later this week, which I'm not announcing yet. I'm still keeping that to myself. I have announced on my Twitter that I will be uploading a new series every Sunday from this week on. So, if you're interested, make sure to check it out. I can tell you guys that probably everybody of you watching Good Company right now will be interested in this game as well. So definitely make sure to check it out. I think and hope that you guys will love it. I definitely do. So, well, it would be awesome if you guys would as well. So, I mean, I can only hope for that. But, check it out on Sunday and then let me know in the comments of that video as well. But, well, here we go. Just making all the logistics connections. And I gotta say, like, just off topic real quick, guys, I think I'm actually pretty happy, like, right now, just doing this post-commentary thing. I mean, it's still not a thing that I want to do regularly, right? But I'm not actually feeling too bad, too uncomfortable about it. I always know something to say, so that's a good first start. Not too many pauses. I hope you guys like that. But it's also just a nice way to throw in some anecdotes and some off-topic things in the meantime while I'm doing different things. I mean, you guys can obviously see what I'm doing right here, right? I'm just, throwing some parts back and forth in logistics mode, getting all the things set up, and in the meantime, I can tell you guys different things. For example, I can tell you about that awesome game coming up. But, going back to the game, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing here, to be honest. I'm like, I don't know. Do I not know what I want to do? Oh wait, gears. Okay, so I needed that table for gears apparently, not for the mechanical parts. I'm just checking it out for frequencies, if I need more or not. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, I'm just still setting up that part of the production chain. Now, as you guys can see, like, everything's obviously, I mean, at least from my feeling, everything's going a bit slower than it used to be in older episodes, just because I'm thinking that little bit more about design. But I think that's a nice part of it. Like, if you guys don't know yet, like if you haven't watched my Planet Coaster series, for example, which is probably the best example for that, when I'm doing things, I'm like actually willing to pay attention to what I'm doing, because like the details matter to me and stuff, then I'm getting very, very perfectionist. That was nearly the wrong word there, but I'm getting really perfectionist, so I'm just trying to design everything nicely to, you know, optimally use the space and to make everything sort of look good as well, not just throw random things all over the place and not have any real plan behind it. That's why it's obviously going a bit slower, but I hope that you guys kind of like the whole system. And I think what I did here, I'm not quite sure why I added that basic workbench. I think it may be because I'm producing that many gears and metal sundries. I'm gonna have to see that in a second, but I definitely added these small shelving racks to the right of these tables just because I realized these workers moving back and forth all day will kind of just make my production that little bit more inefficient. So I decided to go for that instead, which I hope is gonna make things work out a little nicer. Yes, okay, so that assembly table, well, the workbench is gonna be for final production of these little DC motors. And it does appear that I'm actually, in fact, just going for one of these tables. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. I am pretty happy with that. So what's pretty much happening, I mean, metal sundries and everything, you can probably tell yourself. The gears, I think I need the gears. Yeah, I need the gears for the DC motors and the mechanical parts. Perfect timing there. And that's why I have that gear table separate, and all the gears are getting stored into that shelf, and then the logistics worker kind of redistributes them among the mechanical parts and the DC motors to ensure that enough is flowing to every table, because I'm pretty sure that we're actually good for amount transported. And looking at that logistics point, I'm actually not quite sure it's in range. So, oh, yeah, no, it's not. The logistics oh god. The logistics point is not in range of these small shells, so I will have to go back and rework that in the episode after. I am pretty sure I kind of forgot about that. But I'm pretty sure, I'm not quite sure I will do anything here, but I'm thinking that this episode is slowly coming to an end. So I would just kind of like to start my outro talk. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please make sure to leave me a like down below. If you're new to the channel, also please consider hitting that subscribe button and the bell icon right next to it to stay up to date in the upcoming episodes. And as far as I can see, I've got another 14 seconds, so just really quick here, thank you guys for all the support. 98 subscribers, so we're pretty close. And that's it for this episode. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.